Okay, now we are going to see how to create the database in the SQL Server. See, database, how we can create the database in the SQL Server. So in the database creation, actually, we can do it in the two way. One is that graphical way, another one is that using the query. So in the graphical way, actually, so if you are going to create now, yes, we can do it in our SQL Server Management Studio. We can do it in the SQL Server Management Studio. We have seen that on Object Explorer window. In the Object Explorer window, we have seen that our databases, the databases actually we can create our user-defined database folder. So how we can create it in the graphical way? See this in the SQL Server Management Studio on the left side. So the Object Explorer window is available under your server name. Actually, you can see that folder in the name of databases. Under the databases, you can see that all the predefined folders, actually everything is available. The user-defined and predefined, everything is available. Suppose here, if you want to create that your database now, so how we can create it now? Just right-click on the databases folder. The right-click on the databases folder and click the new database. One pop-up will be opened. And the pop-up name database name it's available. Actually, in the database, you have to provide the name. You have to provide the name. So here, what I'm going to just, I'm going to create the database in the name of sample1. The name of sample1. See, when you are giving the name, the database files, actually, the two files are generating the sample and sample for one. So I will copy this file actually, file path, or else just I'm clicking that one. First, I'll click that OK, add button. No, click OK. See here on sample database is created here. The sample database, sample1. So if you expand that one, so the database diagrams, tables, views, something, these are objects. So sample1 database created. Just right click and go to the properties. Go to the files. Go to the files. So copy the file details and go to the folder. So if you open this path, see in the today's date, two files created. Two files created. One is a sample, another one is a sample1.log file. See, if you are creating one new database in the SQL Server now, so it will create two files. One is called master data file. Another one is called log data file. The master data file, the sample one is a master data file. Underscore log is called a log data file. This master data file actually going to be have that your data. The future actually, if you are going to create the tables and the tables, you are going to store the data as something you are going to keep it, right? Those data is actually where it will be available now. It will be available in this sample one. So whatever data you are creating in this database, those data will be available in the sample one folder. Actually, it's called master database. So master data file. The log file actually what it will be. So log files, log data will be there. So actually this will be used for the admin purpose. Actually, it will be used. Suppose if you are having any of the some crashes are happened in this databases now. So for revoking the data, that log files will be used. some access levels, so some issues are happened, some data are cracked, right? So revoking the data, log files will be used. So a simple concept is, so once you create the new database, now what will be happen, two files will be created. Sometimes interview times they will ask the question, what are the files that will be created when you are creating a new databases? So you have to say that one, master data file and log data file, master data file and log data file, master data file, and master data file going to be keep that your actual data, the log for used to recover the database. Suppose if there is any cracked happen, the database cracked now, that time actually you can use this log. For using the log file, actually they will recover the data. So we have seen how to create our database in the graphical way. So this is the way we can create it, and we can see this one. This is a database available. So suppose if we want to create the database using the query, how we can write the query? So far we did not see that any of the query concept. How we can create the query? See, we want to write the query. So where we can write the query? If you want to write the query now, you need that query editor window, the query editor window. So how we can open it now? So in this SQL Server Management Studio, you can see that one option. It's called new query. If you click this new query now, the query editor window will be opened. This is the query editor window. This is the query editor window. So now I'm going to create the new database using the query. New database using the query. How I'm going to create the query now? So for creating any object, you have to use the query create, keyword create. Create. And what you are going to create it? I'm going to create a database. So then database is the keyword here. Database is the keyword. So create database. Then database name you can provide. So I'm going to use that one sample2 as my database name. So create database name. So then here I can see this execute button. So if you click this execute button, it will be executed. So commands completed successfully. That means so sample2, one of the database created in the name of sample2. But it is not available here, right? See here in the here you can click this refresh button. If you click the refresh button, the overall object actually should be refreshed. So, but the data are not available. So database name is not available here. What we can do now? Go to this one and click this refresh. See the database folder. Right click and select the refresh. Now the database folder alone to be refreshed. You can see that your database the sample2. The sample2. This is the way actually what we can do it now. We can create that our database by writing the query. By writing the query, we can create it. So now database ready. Suppose if I want to change the database name, how I can change the database name? The graphical way is simple. Select, if you select this one now, so the editable window will be open. Here I can change the name like this one, sample3.
So seems rename failed to database sample one Microsoft SQL. An exception occurred while executing a transfer statement or batch. The database would not be exclusively locked to perform the operation. Okay. Somewhere it's locked. The properties. See here, just I'm trying to modify the name by writing the query. So from the sample 2 to sample 4, let's see whether it is changed or not. Refresh. See here, the sample 2 is changed actually. Okay, then rename. But graphically, if it is not allowing now, I have to check it why it is not allowing. So okay, fine. So here, just I'm selecting one of the system databases, and here going to this one and change it. Now it's changed, right? See, actually, we missed it actually. Here, when we are writing the query, in this box actually, the current using databases will be selected actually. So that time when we are trying to change that name, that time actually we have selected that sample one. So that means we are working in that database. So when you are working in the database, if you are going to try to delete the database or modify the database, now it will not allow. That is the reason it was shown that log, because it was using by some other users. But at the same time, actually, I have changed the database and I tried to modify it now. It's changed. So when you are working in that particular databases, that particular database, if you want to delete or modify now, it will not allow. So that time you have to choose that different database, then you can do the modification. So this is a way actually we can do the changes in our database name actually. The graphically you can simple graphical as usual file name changing. Right click or select this one. This edit feature will be enabled. Then you can change the name. Suppose if you want to do changes using that query by writing the query, if you want to do it now, you can write it. Alter query we have to use it. So create for creating the new object. The same object if you want to do edit now for that purpose, In the SQL Server, we have to write that alter query, the alter query for editing your object. The alter query for editing your object. So alter database, the sample 2. I'm going to modify the name into the sample 4. So this is the one of the way for changing that your database name by writing the query. Another way also there, it's called store procedure, predefined store procedure. Predefined store procedure. The predefined store procedure, actually we are having SP, what is the store procedure name? SP underscore rename DB. SP underscore rename DB. This is one of the predefined. So using that one, you have to mention that your query name, you have to mention that your database name. I'm going to mention this sample 4. And what name you are going to change it? I'm going to change it into sample 5. So the SP underscore rename is the predefined store procedure. You don't get confused on anything about the store procedure concept. The store procedure is nothing but it's a some collection of queries will be written on one block. Some collection of queries will be written on one block. For that block, they have given one name. So here that name is called SP underscore rename DB. So if you want to execute that query now, so you can use that exec or execute. So both you can use it. So let me select. Why I'm selecting this line alone? Why this line alone? So in this query page, actually I'm having 3 queries. I don't want to run all the queries. I want to run only this query. That is the reason actually I'm selecting this query alone. Then click execute. So the incorrect syntax. So the comma was missed. So now I have put the comma. See here. Now if I'm refreshing my database folder now, the sample 4 should be changed into sample 5. Sample 5. Sample 4 changed into sample 5. You got it? So this is the way actually you can create your database. The 2 ways are there for creating the database. One is that graphical user interface. That means by right-clicking the database folder, you can create the new database and then you can give the database name, then database will be created. The another way, writing the query. So for writing the query, how we can create it? So create database name we have to provide. So create database name we have to provide. Suppose if you want to edit now, so alter we have to use it, alter database name. So that one, modify and name equal to the new name. Or else how we can change the name by using the predefined store procedure. It's called SP underscore rename DB. Using that store procedure, we can rename the database. Right? So here, I want to delete my store database. I want to delete. So for deleting object, you have to use the keyword drop. For the deleting object, database is object. So now I'm going to delete the database. So any one of the object, either database, table, or view, something. If you are going to delete it now, so you have to use that keyword drop. Then drop database, the database name. I'm going to delete it, sample 3. Select and execute. Say commands executed, refresh it. Now we can see only the sample 5 because we have deleted that sample 3. We have deleted the sample 3. Okay, so this is the way we can delete it the graphical way now. So right click and select the delete. So close the existing connection. The existing connections now, if there is any connection, other users are if they are connecting now, so we have to close it now. So all these things, existing things will be closed. Then click OK. See here, nothing is there. So this is the way we can delete that our database. I hope you're clear about this database creations. Right? So that's all for today's session. A new topic actually, that how to create the tables and data's primary key, foreign key. So those things actually you will see it in that our next session. Okay.